Welcome to another Smart Tech Geo tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at assignment 3 from our SBA project. So assignment 3 says reproduce the object in figure 1 above in isometric. So this is our object, subbat of some tool or whatever it is. So yeah, that's what we're going to draw. So to do that, I'm just going to use the ACAD ISO template that AutoCAD comes with, and we can start drawing. So let's take a look at the drawing to see what we know and what we can do right away. Alright, so we know that along the x-axis the total distance is 80. We can see that here. Along the y-axis we have 90 from the bottom to this point here, and then from this point to the very top is 80. So that's 90 plus 80, that's 170 for the x-axis, the height. And then for the z-axis we have 20 plus 25 plus 20, so that's 65 in total. So I'm going to start with drawing just a huge block that I can carve everything out of. So we're going to make that block 80 by 65 by 170. 80 along my x-axis, 170 along my y-axis, and 65 along my z-axis. Alright, so now we have a block that is 80 by 65 by 170. And let's see what we can carve out of it. Let's try to get this middle point here. So we have 15 on this side, 15 on that side, and 35 left in the middle. So let's cut out this piece at the bottom here. So 15, 15, and 35. And the height from the bottom is 90. So from the bottom, we're going to go up 90. And we're going to go along the z-axis 15. You know what, I'll just go ahead and do the 45, and then that should be 15. Right, then I can bring down lines from those points, and we know that it goes back 80, it goes up 90. And if you want, you can bring that, but I know that's going to be hidden, so I'm going to go across here 80 like this, and I can trim the excess that's hidden behind here. And actually I can start trimming some of the stuff that I don't need. So I don't need that, I don't need this, don't need that. Alright, so we have the bottom piece isolated, and I can delete this line as well, the 45. Alright, let's move on to the next piece. Above that we have this dimension here, the 23. So from this to here is 23 millimeters. So let's just go ahead and I'm going to go up 23 millimeters, bring it across our z-axis. And we know that the distance for the first part is 20. We can bring that up and back. And the distance on the other side is also 20. And then we can bring that up and back. Then we can trim what we don't need. TR, enter, enter, trim, trim. We don't need this. We don't need that. And if you want, you can draw the line at the back, but I know that because of the axe that we're going to be drawing, this won't stay here, so I won't even bother drawing the line that comes at the back here. Alright, so we have the basic shape, and what's left to be done are the axe, the isometric circles and axe. Okay, so let's look at what the centers of those isometric circles are. So it looks like for the top circles and arcs, all of them have the same center, which is 40 from the bottom. And since this is 80 by 80 and the radius of the top arcs are 40, that means the center must be the center of that 80 by 80 space as well. Alright, so the center of the small circles is 40 from the sides and 40 from the bottom, and the center of the big circles is the same, 40 from the bottom, 40 from the sides, since we can see that it's tangential to those sides. So let's go ahead and draw the big ones. We know that the radius is 40, so the diameter has to be 80. So let's just draw an isometric square 80 by 80, same orientation with the surface that we want to place it on. So 80 by 80, and remember to use your x-axis 40 degrees and your y-axis 90 degrees. Then we'll draw the longest diagonal of that isometric square, and then we'll draw a line from this corner across to the center of the opposing side, and then from that corner across to the center of the opposing side. Then we're going to use arc, center, start, end, or arc, and then specify center. So this is going to be your center point of your arc. Your arc is going to start here in the center of the side and end in the center of the side at the top. We do the same down here. This is the center of our arc. Start point, end point. By the way, this is what we're using: arc, center, start, end. Okay. Then for the two remaining arcs, our start points are going to be this corner and that corner. So our center points are going to be this corner and that corner. So this corner is going to be a center point. We start up here and we end down here. And then this one as our center point, start down here, end up here. And now we have our isometric circle. I would actually advise that you join it. It might make moving it a bit easier. Alright, so we have this isometric circle. Interestingly though, the one at the bottom also has a diameter of 80, so we can use it for the top and the bottom. So let's go ahead and apply it. Now we need a reference point to copy this to go to here. Alright, so for that, I'm going to use the center of this isometric square and then copy using the center point of this. So we'll use copy and use the center of the long diagonal and place that there. Right, and then we need one for here, one for here, and one for here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and this time I'm going to use that corner as my base point, or you can use that corner, it doesn't really matter. I'll use this corner as my base point, and then this as my second point, this as another point. Wait, why offset? Copy. Right, so we'll use this corner as our base point, this as our second point, and another second point, and last one. And now we have the 4 arcs that make up the top. Alright, so this is a little bit confusing, so let's do a little bit of trimming on those arcs. So I know it's supposed to be tangential here, so I'm just going to trim below here. And it's supposed to be tangential here, so I'm going to trim below here. I'm also going to trim this one where it crosses that one, and it's supposed to be tangential here, so I'm going to trim below here. This one has to be tangential, so it stops here, and that one stops here, so I'll trim below. I'll trim where it crosses that one, and I'll trim this one where it crosses this one. So then I can delete some of the excess pieces that I have. So I have this excess piece I don't need. I have this one, that one that I don't need. Alright. Now we need to join those top arcs with lines. So I'm going to do L enter for line. Then I'm going to do TAN enter. That'll make it to be a tangent to this arc. and then I'll do TAN again, TAN, enter, and make it a tangent to that line, and then enter. We can do that again, TAN, enter, TAN, enter. Right, so we can see that this now has to end here where it touches the line, and then we can delete that excess, and this one has to end where it touches the line here as well, and delete the excess. All right, so we have our top arcs all set in. Let's do the bottom now. So we're going to copy this again, and actually I'll just use the midpoint of the base as my base point and copy it to the midpoint of the base here. All right, and you should see that it's tangential to this side and that side, and then I can trim what I don't need, which is here, here, and I don't need this, so I can delete that. Then I can select this, CO, enter for copy, and copy from this corner as my base point and my second point here. Then we use line, L, enter, TAN for tangent to here, TAN for tangent to here. Right, so we can trim the excess that we don't need from this one here, and we can delete this piece. All right, so we have our top and the bottom, the big arcs. All right, so what we need now are the circles, the small circles at the top and the small circle at the bottom. So let's look at that. So for the one at the bottom, the diameter is 40 millimeters, the center is 40 from the bottom, and since we have a center line here, that indicates to us that it's also the center of the 80 millimeter space here. All right. So let's draw that isometric circle. Same method. This time our isometric circle is going to be 40 by 40. So on the x-axis we go 40, on the y-axis 40, then on the x-axis again 40. We can close that up, draw the longest diagonal, and draw a line from this corner to the center of the opposing side. Draw a line from this corner to the center of the opposing side. Arc center start end. Our center point is this intersection. Start point is the center of the right side. Bring it to the center of the top. Next one, our center is this intersection. Start from the center of the left side, bring it to the center of the bottom. Next one, our center point is this corner. We start where the first arc ended, and then we bring it to the next one to join it, to complete it. And then the opposite from this corner, start at the bottom, bring it to the center of the right side. And now we have our isometric circle that's going to fit down here. But we need something to use to copy it across, right? A reference point. So I'm going to put a center line here. Actually, that line should be 40 from the bottom. Okay, it has to be along our 30-degree axis. I'll trim that excess. I didn't want that excess. Alright. And so now I can copy this. I'm actually going to join it. You don't have to join it, I just prefer to join it. And then we are going to copy it. Use the center of our diagonal as our midpoint, our base point. And then copy it to the center of this line. Like this. And we have the circle at the bottom. And if you look at the drawing, you can't see the outside circle or the circle at the back. So that's all you need for the bottom here. And we can focus now on the circle at the top, which has a diameter of 32. So we're going to draw another isometric square this time 32 by 32. We draw our longest diagonal. We draw a line from this corner to the center across it. Draw a line from this corner to the center across it. And now we can draw our arcs using arc center start end. This is our center point, our start point on the right, our end point in the center. Then we start here, we end here. Center, start, end, center, start, end. Alright, again I'm going to join this one. Alright, so we already have a line here we can use as the reference point. So we're going to copy this, use the center point as our base point, and the center here as our reference point. And now we're going to copy this, and we're going to use this as our base point and these as our secondary points. Okay. All right, we have everything that we need. What we really need to do now is do some trimming to remove all the excess. So let's start at the top. So I'm going to trim this back line here, and I'm going to trim this piece of that line, this piece of that line above where the arc reaches the line. Okay, and then now I can delete those. I don't need those. I don't need those. Alright, I don't need those lines. Delete all of them. I actually don't need this line anymore. If you look here, this is the front circle, and the circle at the back on this piece, we can only see that part, so we can trim off the rest. So I'm going to trim here and here, then I can delete that entire piece. Alright, now this circle here is the one for the front for this piece, but this is going to be in front of it, so we don't need this part, so we can get rid of that. And this is all we can see for the back circle, so we can trim off the excess like this, and there you go. Now we're missing one line that we should have drawn earlier from here, and it's going to be on our z-axis like that. Okay, let's trim off at the bottom too. So we trim off below where the arc touches the line, we trim off below where the arc touches the line, below where the arc touches the line, and we can delete the excess. And we don't need this line anymore. Go ahead and delete that. Alright, so that's it for the drawing itself. The next thing that we need to do is actually now dimension this drawing. So to dimension it, we're going to be using aligned dimensions. So we dimension this piece. I'm actually not going to show you how to dimension all of them, but I will dimension a few, and then you can use the concept to dimension the rest. If I go to annotate, you can use continue. So I'll just continue. Same for, this is aligned here. We start here, can go right here, and then use continue to here and there. And then let's do one that is, now I'm going to use linear, and I'm going to do from here to this point here, and if I bring it across with 60, that should be 80 width. that should be 80. All right, so we have this 80 here, and let's now adjust those dimensions. So I'm going to select this and all of those, and I'm going to use the function dim edit, enter. Then I'm going to use oblique, and I want them to be aligned to my x-axis, so I'm going to use 30 degrees. So let's do that again. You select all of them, and then we go to dim edit and oblique. Then you can click on any point, and then you move your mouse in the direction of the x-axis, because I want those to face the x-axis, so that's 30 degrees. And then you click, and now they are aligned to your axis. All right, let's do the same thing again with that one. So select it, dim edit, oblique, and this one we're going to put it along our z-axis, so 450 degrees or 150 degrees. It's the same thing. Okay, and there you go. So it stands to the side like that along the axis. The next thing that you have to do is actually dimension your arcs and circles. So you're going to use multi-leader for those. Then you can just click on it and find the symbol for diameter, and you can put 80. Right, same thing for this one, symbol, diameter, and I think this one was 40. Okay, so then you can use that to dimension the others, and then you can use that method to dimension the rest of the stuff. All right, you should be able to do everything based on that. And yeah, that's it for that. Take your time. You will need to pause sometimes, go back through the video. I try to go through it quickly so that the video wouldn't be too long. But yeah, that's it. That's how you answer this question. Again, you would need to put all the dimensions that you are given, like this. You might have to put a title for the project. So in this case, if you want, you can just put assignment 3 isometric projections and submit your work. Okay.